Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting entry of the Gaming Leisure podcast. I have with me Noah Akers, who's going to talk to you a little bit about EFT and Akers products that are supporting it and some of the successes they've had. So, Noah, why don't you give everyone a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. I'm really thrilled to be a part of this. Obviously, anytime I get to talk about our company and cashless is I really enjoy it. So, as for me personally, I've been involved in gaming for over 20 years now. Personally, in my professional life, I've worked as an operator. I've worked as a supplier. Now we're doing systems, and I think that if I look back at my career, when I first started. We were transitioning as an industry from coins to Tito. And I think that there's a lot of interesting parallels from, what kind of people were saying, the pros and cons of moving to Tito and, why people may or may not want to adopt it at the time. And clearly it was very successful. Everybody adapted to Tito, and it's, we couldn't imagine a world today any different when, you had coin buckets and things like that.
It was an ugly time. I remember it well.
It was an ugly time, yeah. But I mean, I think that people at the time said that players loved coins and they loved handling the coins and they loved the sound of the coins and things like that. And I think that today nobody wants coins. So everybody was wrong. So here we are moving from Tito to cashless, and I think that some of the same arguments are being made to maintain cashless or to maintain Tito or against cashless. And I think that we're going to overtake all those objections as well.
Well, excellent. A little bit about your history with Akers. Obviously, your last name is Akers, but have you spent your entire career at Akers and working on this type of product, or is this the evolution of several years of product testing? And
No, this is definitely an evolution of several years. So I haven't been with this company forever. So just a brief bit of backstory. So obviously my last name is Akers. My dad is John Akers. He's been around the industry for a long time. I think he's credited with being kind of the first pioneer in terms of casino management systems and progressive jackpots, free play, bonusing, things like that. And growing up, I was always really enamored with casino gaming. I love gaming. I like to gamble myself. I hang out in casinos. Living in Vegas, I go to the movies at a casino. I go bowling at a casino, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I always really, growing up, I always planned on working in the industry, either as an operator or as a supplier. There was a time kind of when I got out of college and I was looking to start my professional career. My dad was retired from gaming. He had sold his company, which was at the time Akers Gaming. He sold it to IGT. And that's where we get the IGT Advantage system right now. So if you have an IGT system, that's actually the original Akers system. But I was always, enamored. I started working as I went over to Macau for a few years, and I was kind of working on some projects over there. Came back to Vegas, here in the U.S., and I was VP of marketing and operations at a casino here on the Strip called the Riviera, which isn't there anymore. I left that and I started working with my dad at Akers. And the way that Foundation came about is we had a product, or we still have a product called Kai, which is a dispatch tool that casinos can essentially provide their frontline employees with a mobile device like an iPod. And Kai interfaces to the system event stream, and it basically tells an employee, what the service is, who you're providing it for, and where to go. So it just kind of manages the employees. And what we found, a couple things happened. So we got to like 30, 40 properties operating on Kai. And, the system providers that we were interfacing with, now they started to block us, right? They started to tell casino customers that, this read-only interface isn't really safe, and something bad could happen, and we're going to make a product similar to Kai, in the very near future. So just you'll want to not do Kai and get it from us. And we quickly determined that unless we possess the data, or unless we control the data, that we're under the control of others. And so we worked to make Foundation. Foundation provides like 1,000 times more data than the existing systems because we collect all of the SAS meters and report them in real time instead of just some of the SAS meters at distant intervals like the existing systems do. And we can change the credit meter balance on command. We also provide a robust standard APIs for any other system to kind of tap into our data stream. And that provides a whole new kind of open ecosystem for casinos to get new applications. So instead of shutting out the Kais and other applications similar to Kai, we welcome them, even if they compete with ideas that we have. We're here to provide the casinos like really what they consider the best of breed products at the best price point. However the casino wants it, we feel like they should be able to get it. We're not in a position to tell them that you only have to buy from us. And so that's kind of the backstory of Foundation.
Cool. And the EFT side of Foundation, as it started to evolve, was that just I know it's been in the industry for years, as I understood it, at least coming through, because I'm like a lot like you, coming from the coin days all the way through ticketing and its evolution. Can't even tell you the stories I've seen when it comes to Toledo coin scales and things like that I had to deal with, as I'm sure you did as well. But the evolution from coin to ticketing. Ticketing was always supposed to be a middle part. The EFT is not a new idea. It was an old idea, and ticketing was just like kind of supposed to just sit there for a few years while EFT kind of got hot, and then it died. Because I guess the adoption of ticketing was enough, or the regulations didn't keep up. What do you think kind of kept this technology in the background for so many years?
Well, I think there's a few things. Regulation, obviously, being a key component of that. In this industry, if you want to design products that interface directly with the slot machine, especially when you have the ability to write commands such as changing the credit meter, you have to get that. You have to submit that to the highest standard of regulatory approvals. That means that your company and the key people inside your company have to be licensed, not only in one jurisdiction, but like in all of them. And that's really difficult. So that keeps out a lot of development, frankly, from our industry. I think that also, Tito it's really easy to use. Like it's a good product. I think people like it. Nobody really has any complaints about Tito. But really what's happening now is that the consumer tastes are changing to where, now I go to Starbucks, I go to Cafe Rio, any restaurant or store that I go to, I'm used to either paying on their app or with my Google or Apple wallet. And, I think that now, I thought I saw a statistic that said 75 to 80% of all transactions in the economy are cashless transactions. And that means that, in casinos, we're one of the few industries remaining that's cash only. Right. And when we sit around and ask ourselves, geez, why are these players aging so fast? Why can't we get new and younger players? Well, honestly, a big part of the reason is because we don't embrace new technology like cashless or real-time data or personalized messaging or things like that younger people, frankly, are getting on their iPhone or their Android phone or on Facebook or, Amazon or different applications and services like that. And so I think that when we move to cashless as a casino industry, we're going to start to create a lot more newer and younger players.
I was actually at the roundtable this year, and one of the things that came up, EFT came up, and I had just come back from Casino Hollywood in Columbus, and I'd looked at Foundation out there and played with it and fell in love with the fact that how simple the product was. I walked in, I could make a player's card and connect to a game, set up a wallet, everything else, and play. And I never saw one person in that whole transaction, which I thought was just amazing to me. And then even walked out of the casino with money back in my account. And so the whole process was so cool that I I had to talk about it at the roundtable when I brought it up, a lot of what I heard was it's a long ways out, and and I'm trying to get my head around on why when it's kind of out there already and being used in a few places, why people are still thinking it's a long ways out. It's still on the horizon, because it seems to me like it's around the corner.
I think it is around the corner. I think it's here. Obviously, I think at Penn, we're live on like 14 or 15 properties right now. That's over 20,000 slot machines. It's working very, very well. Obviously, you had a great experience with it, and I think others are as well. I think that when you hear people say, "Oh, we're not sure about cashless yet, or it's going to take another few years," frankly, if a lot of it has to do with Nevada and Las Vegas in particular, because Las Vegas is kind of recognized as the mecca of gambling. And when people, in our industry, frankly, want to see a product, a lot of times where can I see it in Vegas? Because everybody in gaming goes to Vegas at least, once or twice a year. Or they want to see it in like California or somewhere that's like closer to them. But when we're in Ohio and Pennsylvania and places like that are, if you're not from that region, it's more difficult to get out there. And then you've only seen kind of like maybe like the not as good cashless implementations, and so the reputation is a little bit damaged. But the good news with our Penn installs is that measured by number of jurisdictions, Penn is like the market leader. I think they're in 20 states, and so that means that as part of this process of rolling out with Penn, we're getting approved in 20 states, and so that means that once that whole process is done, probably early in 23. Will be approved to really go almost anywhere. And we have some other installs that we're going to be announcing soon in places like California and New Mexico and Arizona and Oklahoma. And that's just going to bring it that much closer to where people are. And the reputation is going to change accordingly.
That's fantastic. I think that the future's pretty bright right now for EFT, obviously for Acres as well. Not that it hasn't been, because it always kind of been for you guys. So that's great. Now, I guess my final question for you is if you had to guess on the adoption, rate and time, because I know it's an evolution. How long do you think it's going to take for the world to kind of embrace the whole EFT? Not just, I know as an industry, we've been wanting to embrace it for years because of cash handling, things like that, going down Title 31, all this different stuff that kind of melts into the background quite a bit. But how long do you think it'll be for public embracing of something like this? Is it a generational thing, or?
I think that, I think that you'll see widespread adaptation very quickly. I think that within probably somewhere between 3 to 5 years, we're going to see over 90% of the market be at least cashless compatible. And that means that if I go to a slot machine at any given casino, 90% of those casinos are going to have the ability to connect a mobile app to buy in or cash out from a slot machine or table game. And I think that, from where we are today, that may seem like a long ways out. But I'll give you two counter arguments to that. So number one, who pays cash outside of a casino? Like even people that are naysayers about cashless in gaming, when do we use cash? Like not very frequently, right? So obviously everybody's on cashless technology already. So we're already trained to do cashless. Now, the second is that I think it was in 2019, the first NFL stadium went cashless. It was the Atlanta Falcons Stadium. They were the only NFL team to have a cashless stadium. By kickoff last year, 29 of 30 teams have gone cashless in their stadium. So it's going to be a very quick rollout. And I think that the users they're going to find that the cashless experience is better, not only because the ease of access to money is improved, but when you deliver it through a platform like Foundation, we're going to include things like real-time messaging and bonusing and things like that into the cashless experience. And so if you're a cashless player, you're going to have more chances to win than you are, or to win more when you play cashless than if you just played with regular cash. And then the casinos are going to give more because they're making more profit off these players. And it's going to be cheaper to market to them because you're just going to send an in-app message. You're not going to send a piece of direct mail that costs, $5 to print and post and all that kind of stuff. So I just think that the velocity is going to greatly increase in terms of adopting cashless in gaming.
Well, I know that I had a hard time not downloading more money when I was playing in Columbus, so it was a good time because it's like, oh, I just want $50 more, but
yeah, and I think that's the number one misnomer is people are asking, well, what percentage of players are going to embrace cashless? Well, I mean, that's an important question, but the other question is what players are going to embrace cashless? And when you consider like people have a hard time accessing cash inside the casino, that really hurts the high end players. And if you give them cashless as a tool that now instead of, they just lost their cash, in their pockets, now where they might have in the past like gone to the ATM or gone to a cash advance terminal and paid like a crazy percentage or crazy fee, now they can just sit at the machine, reload their cashless wallet and keep playing. And that's why if you look at the numbers that Penn has reported in their public earnings announcements, they're saying that the visitation has increased by 18% and the time on device has increased by 22% amongst the cashless players. And that's specifically because these high-end players are staying at the machine more. They don't have to get up and go get more money.
That's fantastic. Definitely a boost for our industry. I think we're going to be looking at a very interesting next decade. That's for sure. Well, Noah, thank you very much for being on the Gaming Leisure podcast. We always appreciate your time, and thanks again.
Thanks, Tom. Really enjoyed it.